After defeating the Mideast Allied forces, the warrior unit returned to their homes in Liberio. On their way back, the Marleyan army cheered for Gabi, who played a great role in the war. One of the soldiers who cheered her on the most was Colt, who had gotten drunk. The following morning, Porco took care of Colt and let Gabi know that he was proud of her as well. At the beginning of the Marley arc, everyone thought that Gabi would inherit the armored titan, especially after she helped defeat the Mideast Allied forces. However, in order to protect her and let her live a long life, Falco worked hard to prove that he could be just as worthy to become the armored titan and beat her at a race. As he did, Porco watched the two of them along with his comrades and said these words. Porco always assumed that he would easily inherit one of the 9 titans as a child and was shocked to find out that out of him and the 6 other warrior candidates, he'd be the only one who wouldn't become one. However, Marcel went behind his back and made Porco seem like the worst choice, resulting in Reiner being chosen instead. Not knowing the role his brother played in this, Porco was infuriated with Reiner, and it would take years before he understood why he didn't get what he always wanted. Full quote. You didn't do anything. You're obviously the weakest in the group. If one person's getting left behind, it's going to be you. What are you good at? Are you strong, smart, a good shot, a good fighter? You're none of those, are you? What they saw in you was the loyalty to Marley you displayed in the written tests, wasn't it? When Porco was a child, he trained alongside Reiner, Annie, Zeke, Berthold, Peek, and Marcel to become a warrior. Reiner was excited to inherit one of the 9 titans and attack the Eldons in Paradis, but Porco didn't believe that he had what it would take and told him this. This led to the two of them fighting and having a rivalry for as long as they knew each other, especially since Porco was the one that got left behind. Full quote. The Tiber family has never done their duty to protect our country, even though they held the Warhammer Titan all this time. They've lived carefree lives in big mansions on big estates while other Eldons were forced into internment. Isn't it a little too selfish for them to show up now and start acting like heroes? Fearing that modern weapons would become more powerful than the Titans, Zeke brought the other warriors together to discuss what they could do in order for the world to realize that Eldons were still important. He told them that the Tiber family, who had inherited the Warhammer Titan for generations and was beloved by people all around despite being Eldons, would help them. Porco didn't think it was fair and made his feelings clear, but the Tibers ended up helping anyway. Full quote. I just saved my motherland of Marley from losing the armor as a result of you screwing up. And anyway, none of this would have happened if they chose me for the Paradis operation 9 years ago and let me inherit the armor. My brother never would have protected you before getting himself eaten by a random titan. During the battle between the Mideast Allied forces, Reiner was almost killed. The only reason why he wasn't was that Porco came to his rescue. When he woke up, Porco said this to him, letting him know that even after all these years, he still didn't see Reiner as his friend and blamed him for Marcel's death. When the Survey Corps invaded Marley, Yelena trapped Peek and Porco so they couldn't fight against them. Luckily, they were able to escape and Porco entered the battle. Because this was the first time he ever faced any of them, he was shocked to discover that they weren't afraid of him and fought back. He nearly died to them and learned how powerful they were. Full quote. I used up all my power to heal my body. But I'm not going down for nothing. I saw Marcel's memories. He tricked the army into making a loser like you into a warrior. All to protect me. Now you have to admit it. That to the end I've always been better than you. In the manga, when the Marleyan army attacked Paradis, Porco and Reiner fought against Ren. During the battle, Porco was finally able to remember Marcel's memory of when he told Reiner that he had sabotaged Porco in order to protect him. Knowing this, Porco was happy that he was right all along and should have inherited a Titan before Reiner did. However, his happiness didn't last long as Falco, who had just transformed into a Titan, ate him, becoming the next Jaw Titan.